Hi, it's Michael Hamilton here from mikehamilton.com.au.
And I'm Lambros from Station 5. Mate, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you guys out there? Pretty good.
Mate, one thing I wanted to talk about today is just the financial services industry. I'm just going to sit back while you blast me about this one, because I know it's a topic we talk about a lot. Mate, I know I've got some experience. Obviously, I've been doing this for a few years now. I've worked with companies of the like of AMP Capital, and yourself, you've worked with a couple of companies as well, is that right?
Yeah, well, National Australia Bank, MLC there at the same time. And look, the things I've been noticing in the last couple of years, especially the last 2 years, is the focus on the customer again across the industry. I think the technology has changed that, but there's a massive focus on that. And a lot of market research I'm seeing at events I attend are showing that people are confused by financial services. They don't understand the message. They think it's complicated. They don't think they're being sold to. A lot of research has been showing that. I've been reading on and off, and just certain things I attend. And it's interesting, and I kind of have to agree. It is quite confusing. People tell me that.
Yeah.
The street friends over dinner, of any age, particularly young people. I think from the age of 18, especially the 35, they feel like their products aren't catered for them.
Yeah.
That's one example of it, right? But the industry kind of knows that. But I think if you are going to be an incumbent or new to the industry, there's serious things you need to understand and know. It's very important, I find.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of course. I mean, in my opinion, it's a tricky industry because I think there's a huge dynamic shift at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming a lot more kind of customer or client focused.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've found with my interaction. I think that I've kind of gone through a couple of accountants, and I think the first ones that I went through were a lot more number crunchers. And it was all about getting the numbers in at tax time and making that happen. But I think now it's a lot more kind of work as you go, keep things automated and focus more on the client. And focus more on us at the end of the day as people and obviously what we plan on doing in the next few years.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, as you know, and if you can shed some light on it, would be awesome, is how is the tech evolving to cater for what you and I seem to really like in this field?
Well, for example, the ATO is encouraging funds to roll over money through the ATO to other funds. So create an electronic network of transactions. So make it easier to do things. So that becomes employer contributions, for example. You can send them to the ATO via gateways in Australia, and they can get to other funds.
Yep.
So they're scratching the surface. So slowly this technology change is coming, and it's going to keep on evolving. So it's going to move into core banking in the future. It's going to grow out of these funds and so forth. So it's going to become very much interactive, and not just within their own local economies or countries. It's going to be also overseas, how you transfer money overseas. So there's a shift coming strategy-wise for governments around the world. I'm starting to read a lot more of that. So that means it's only going to get more automated. It's going to become more and more technology engaged, which in theory, is going to leave more time for the accountant, in theory, to spend more time with you.
But it also gives the opportunity to the smaller accounting firms as well to flourish.
Massive.
Yeah, I don't think they know it's coming their way.
Oh, I don't. There's opportunities there for greenfields. If you do it right from the start, there's an opportunity to really I know for myself, getting my phone here, I could actually see forecasting on a month-by-month basis of my accounts for that year. If I have analytics in there showing me how to do that, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? It's having software that does that. And I think there's all sorts of opportunities for certain clients and how they engage their accountants, how they engage their clients. I think there's a huge, massive opportunity.
Yeah, digitalize the boring parts of the process so you can talk more about the parts that people actually care about, the financial services, the financial planning, moving forward. What are the next steps for you as an individual in your business, and how can, I guess, the information that you've now got access to aid you in achieving what you want to do?
Yeah, it's funny you just said planning. So I'm seeing financial planning and accountancy coming over because of technology. That's one example of it, right? But some people might disagree with that, but I'm starting to see that. That's just my opinion, having been in the industry for half my career. That's what I'm seeing. And it's amazing to see. It's really interesting.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, awesome. And obviously this all needs to start somewhere. I mean, it's all well and good to turn around and say, well, mate, it's time to start up an accounting firm, if you're an accountant, of course, and go out there and be more client-focused and use all these systems. But I think that obviously you need to get your foot in the door. And a lot of the time we think about, obviously, how you're going to get your first clients. And I think it starts off, I mean, just talking from a marketing perspective and what I see on a day-to-day basis with websites, because that's our focus here, is how are you going to drive the content, the information that you're sharing as someone to obviously bring in sales, to bring in people who are interested in using your services. accounting is being done a certain way, and I think 90% of people still do it that legacy or old way of doing things. But I think there's the early adopters who are really starting to flourish because of, I guess, the emotional outcome that they're proving that they can fulfill.
Yeah.
It's about alleviating that frustration. And so I think from a marketing perspective, it's about, and mate, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but the idea, I think, is to make it much more about, and the content much more about that emotional outcome, and because that shows that people can relate to you, and it helps to drive people towards you and what you have to offer. Yeah,
it kind of shows maturity in your offering. If you go to a website and it's very clean and not like, I've looked at a lot of websites over the years from accountants, and it's just long bits of content, and it's very
mate. The landing pages you see sometimes,
it's horrible, and some people still got them. Some of these accountants, but mind you, there's some older accountants who've established a great relationship with their clients, and they've got that system set up with those type of clients who don't really need to look at a website. But if you are a new startup or you're a younger person looking for an accountant, I think it's important that you engage with them on an emotional level. Understand the needs, especially around the industry. So there might be in the industry that they're in also. So you might need to have specialties in that area. You know what I mean? If you are leaving a job as an accountant later on in your life or early in your life, you need to maybe focus on your expertise in the industries you focus on, and then focus on those as your leads or your customers you want to target with those startups. It's good because people will see you as a person of influence or someone they can trust because you know their area well. I know I look for that. It's massive for me. It's huge.
Yeah, of course.
And I've grown like that as a business over time. It's amazing. Yeah. You start attracting yourself towards the people that you know have experience in the area that you're in. And I think it's great. A lot of people try and do everything.
Yeah.
You don't have to do everything, especially on the internet.
Focus on one industry.
I think you and I know, I think with the internet, it really rewards you, or search engines reward very niche content.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And if you focus on a particular type of industry and a type of part of that, maybe just startup compliance for mining or something like that, or startup compliance for innovation in cooking companies or something like that who do apps on cooking, something like that, or fitness. It's a huge benefit because you're easy to find on the internet. Because the content is targeted to that part.
I mean, mate, to be completely transparent, it's what we're doing.
Yeah,
exactly. It's what we're doing through this video.
Yeah.
And it's something that, I think needs to be accepted. I think that, just tying back to what you were saying a bit earlier, people a lot of the time on their mobile phones on the way home from work. The average statistic that people like to throw around, which is actually pretty accurate, is the baseline for most websites is most people, 60% of people are on their mobile devices over a desktop when they're viewing your website.
You and I are.
Yeah,
I'm on
there all the time. If you're on the move, you're always on your mobile. But the thing is, like, at the end of the day, people are also looking for an outcome. People come to a website, they don't want to go to services and see, do I fit into that category anymore? We're well past that day of here's the homepage, here's the About Us page, here's the services. We need to reach out to people and try and capture words or keywords in what they're looking for so that we can actually determine what they want to do, what their end outcome is. People don't want to go through a list of services and think, am I for that? Is that for me? Is that for me? Is that for me? Oh no, this company doesn't offer what I want. Let's go to the next page.
Yeah.
It's about going to a website, knowing straight away, this person knows what I want. Boom, let's go.
Yep.
And the benefit is that if you're appealing to a particular industry, you know exactly where their head's at.
Yep.
In this case, the clients of accountants.
And their age group, or their age time, or the age of the business too.
The size of the business, where they're located, what they eat for breakfast. Like the demographic can just keep getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
But I think you don't need to be too particular at the same time. But it's great sometimes to understand your audience, because then your content can be geared towards them.
Correct. And like, for example, a landing page or a home page of your website you want to set up, for example, might have a little video that might go for 30 seconds talking about one particular problem. It could be just thinking about the processes I need to start up.
And perhaps the most common problem.
Something like that. And just maybe talk about it as yourself or in an interview process with a potential client, something like that, something they can relate to. But it needs to be emotional, because if you're making their life easier, they'll come to you. That's what it's about, right? Making life easier, trust, influence, you know what I mean? And I know for personally, with an accountant in the future, moving forward, you want to be able to access their network too. You want to grow the business together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're showing and demonstrating that you're on social media or using videos, for example, and you are a new age person and you understand the new economy,
and you trust this person with your systems.
You would. I know I can work with this person. I want to work with this person.
And it's not hard to do, mate, these 30-second videos you speak of.
We do it all the time.
Mate, can I do a bit of role play with you? I know we didn't plan on this.
Okay.
Are you ready? This would be if I was an accountant.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. And I'll do it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna purposely make it very salesy, even though it shouldn't be.
Okay.
If it goes something along the lines of, don't you hate it during tax time when you're sitting there behind a computer, even behind your phone, and you're thinking, Jesus, I have to put together this spreadsheet, which is 200 line items old, and I'm reconciling items based back in October 2015. I have no idea what I spent $15 on back in October 15. It was probably something for food, but the receipt never really, the line item in the bank account never really says what it is. It's a bunch of characters that someone put there. I personally hate that, and that's why I pretty much decided to start up my own accountancy firm. Here's how I do things differently. I use XYZ systems, and ultimately I've alleviated these people's concerns and these issues, and it's just taking me to, it's helping me to focus more on the financial planning and moving forward, as opposed to thinking about the past and thinking about the transactions I made, and more about focusing on what the next steps are and how I can advance my business or my personal finances to where they need to be.
Yeah, that's an example of that,
Would you rate that, mate?
I would rate that.
I didn't script it. I think with scripting it sounded a lot less like it was on like some 80s show, pitching the latest toothbrush.
Or you're talking like this to the camera. It could be something like that. But you do need to talk about something like that, making their life easier. So, for example, I did have a transaction in August last year, October. I didn't remember it. But at the time, the automated software that was being used by the actual software that was supplied was reconciling it in real time and actually putting a transaction against it, because it learnt that over many months.
Well, that's what I was doing too.
And it was like, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I know I've quality checked it when I started it off with my accountant, and I know I'm happy with that transaction.
And you create rules.
Yeah, rules.
And then you just go and hit okay. So I can say, like, if any line item, for instance, just as an example, not that I'm selling their services, but when I'm logged into my accountancy software, which is Xero, and I'm looking through the line items, and I see, I can set up rules such that anything with a line item of, I don't know, St. George, because that's my bank, would be a bank fee. So I can flag that as an automated thing, and then what happens is when I log in next, I just hit OK.
Yeah.
Now, for an accountant, it's just like, okay, that's what I normally do, or they normally put together the spreadsheet for me. But as an accountant, it's not about, the process is the same for you. The difference is, because it is, ultimately, the process is being largely automated, because you don't have to go through these line items one by one and put them into different categories on a balance sheet. The difference is that ultimately, I can spend more time with my clients. I can focus more on them because I'm not spending all the time in front of a book.
It's cheaper because if you do this automated process, it becomes cheaper to run it, right? So it frees up that amount of time that you would normally do manually, right? So you can have that conversation, right? Look, I'm not saying that software, the automation is foolproof. Like, I work with software for 15 years. Things break, things aren't perfect, but it's about getting to that, moving along that journey and getting to that point where things are improving over time. And that's the biggest point of it. It's just going along the journey and taking advantage of the technology that's there. Especially if you are a new business and greenfields, it's a great opportunity right now.
Yeah.
I know, I can't stress it enough. Like, if I was younger and being an accountant, I would love it now.
Yeah.
I'll make it easier. And having been in the industry for so long and having walked into accountancy offices when I was younger, watching paper all over the place, just books and stuff like that. Now I'm walking to some places I see friends and there's hardly any paper.
Yeah.
And they behave differently.
There's like a Surface or an iPad.
Yeah,
and that's
it is. And they walk around with their iPads.
What are you doing?
This is different, and some of them are still stuck in the old world. They've still got a lot of paper.
Yeah.
Working like that. And I understand that. There's no criticism. I understand they're in that way. But the world's changing.
Yeah.
And there's opportunity now to do it right from the start and get it right and have that engagement. Because as I said, I really want to engage on a different level with my accountant moving forward. I want to have more strategic conversations every time we see each other or on the phone. I don't want to be talking about transactions. I don't want to do that. That's my thinking. That's where my head's going.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people's heads are going to. A lot of people in my industry.
Well, we're in a world where people are getting increasingly impatient.
Oh, yeah.
You can see a photo for 7 seconds and snap it away, and you're never going to see it again.
Yeah.
But that's just the nature of things. And if you're not, this is just one of the ways that people are naturally becoming more impatient.
Yeah.
And people don't want to spend time doing those sorts of things that they used to spend the time each year doing.
Yeah.
The dynamic's changing. If you're not keeping up with the way people are thinking, then you're going to fall behind.
Well, our social media strategy, when we talk about, this is a longer video, by the way.
This is for those who want to sit back and have a bit of a listen, have a bit of a drink.
Have a bit of a think. Just have what do you want to say? What do we have? Anything good to say?
We'll link the shorter ones below.
Yeah, we do. But we talk about it all the time. So we do 90-second videos, 60, 30-second. Like, we have this thinking. We understand the certain type of people we're marketing to, depending on social media we're targeting. But this type of format's good if people want to gain a lot of information or gain some credibility.
Yeah.
You know, with us, for example, they want to learn more about us. And look, to be honest, I've been in financial services for 7 years out of the 15 or 14 I've been in software testing. So I really know a lot about it. I understand the industry. I know a lot about it now, and it's changing a lot. It's huge. There's a massive wave coming. I can't stress it. Around the world. And as you know, was it Ernest? I think we did a video a little while ago about Ernest & Young. They hired Deloitte, sorry.
More software developers than accountants.
Well, this is an example of many companies. They've hired more software developers than accountants.
In 2014?
14, something like that. And there's some other trends. There's facts flying around in articles, but it was to automate a lot of processes. So they're not having so many manual people doing things. You know, and that's a massive investment of time. You know, and they'll benefit from those results in years to come. So will the shareholders, because their costs will lower.
Yeah,
and it's a massive difference. Yeah. Specialised accountants too, when they've got in their company who are more client focused also.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it's going.
Dynamic shift.
Yeah.
In the interest of getting too long, should we wrap up there?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Mate, thanks for joining me. This has been awesome.
Yeah,
if you guys got any questions, shoot them down below to either Mike or myself, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Cheers.
Thank you.